Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Haven on Earth. It is mid-October in Salazar, Oklahoma, which is kind of central Oklahoma and then very east. So we are getting ready for our first night of possible freezing. They said that it might be down to 25. So we're just getting the animals ready as best as we can, and ourselves and our RV. And so I was gonna, it's getting close to letting the goats out and feeding the chickens, so I'm gonna go around and see if we're prepared or not. It's really a perfect fall day. It's been breezy. The leaves are falling down. It's about 55 degrees. I think that was the high today. Might get down to 25. We had chicken tortilla soup made from scratch for lunch. Perfect soup weather. Everybody's lining up. I've been calling Jason the man with the yellow hat because everybody wants to be around the man with the yellow hat. I know he doesn't wear a yellow hat, but if you've ever read Curious George, the man with the yellow hat's the most popular man around. Next is all the goats. Archie will start pacing the fence. Gets all amped up. Jason said he's about to release the Kraken. There they go. And our goats are Nigerian dwarf goats. They can be used for dairy, and they're great pet goats. And several people have commented that goats are browsers, not grazers. And if you watch them, they won't stay in one section too long. They move around, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. They love to clear the brush, leaves. Whereas grazers like cows or Archie, he's a sheep, they'll stay in one spot and mow the grass down. But the goats, they move around a lot. So yeah, we're just getting ready for the cooler temperatures. The 25 is only supposed to be for one night, and then goes back up to 60 tomorrow, and I think the low is going to be about 31 tomorrow night, so it's just for one night. So here's our setup for the goats. Like I mentioned in our previous video, we were moving with the anticipation of our house closing, and then using those funds to set up the goats, get our own tiny house or shed to house, but that sale fell through, so this isn't ideal, but we're making do. Ideally we would have walls up on this structure and the goats would be nice and toasty, but we did put hay down for them. They all fit under here. It's not supposed to be windy or rainy, so we think that they'll be just fine. We did have a really cold snap in Texas one February, and it was down to like -19. The goats had structures then, they had shelter, but they were pretty hardy. Cheyenne, this little black and white goat, she had her babies outside in January in like 2 degrees. That little cutie. So they are pretty hardy. And then here's the coop. Again, ideally we would have the front and the back tarped, and I needed a bigger tarp. I ordered the wrong size from Amazon. So ideally it would be finished, but we did also put some straw or hay down for them. Some pretty colored eggs for us today. Nice of the chickens. The chickens are also really hardy. When we had that cold snap when it was like -18, the chickens did have a coop. It was an enclosed coop, but we didn't put a heat lamp in there or anything. Just made sure that there were no drafts. They stayed dry, and they did really well. Very hardy animals. And then for our camper, we do have propane hooked up. We actually ran the heater last night for the first time this season. Worked great. And then we're just going to keep the cupboards open so that our water lines don't freeze. Again, since it's only for one night, we think that we should be okay. It's definitely playtime. The dogs are ready to get out and run. So yeah, we do have the propane hooked up. We're gonna run the heater, open the cupboards, and hoping that our water pipes stay fine. But if you do have any suggestions, because we are gonna be in here for a while, just while we build this shed to house, on how to keep the pipes warmer. My mom was suggesting winterizing or putting antifreeze in the, draining the water out and then putting the antifreeze in there. But if we're going to continue to live in here, I'm just curious if there's any other tips you guys have. So here the goats have made it up to the top. They're on the move. And I did mention in one video that the goats were going to go running for the chicken food. So we feed the chickens first and the ducks. And then later we let the goats out. But chicken food for male goats can be very dangerous. Like we almost lost Archie before we were aware of it, because they get crystallized. It's urinary calculi, so their urine crystallizes and then they can't pee. So we had to rush him to the vet one time before we knew not to feed him grain. They used to always break into the chicken coop. So most of the food is gone, and these are all girls. And this is literally like a minute later. Now they're back in the middle of the yard. They just hop around. Well, have an awesome evening, you guys. I'm ready for fall hibernation. At least